The plan was simple. A quiet Valentine's night. No fancy dinners. No big parties. Just me and Lauren. Her parents were out of town, so we had the house to ourselves. Pizza, a few movies, maybe a bottle of wine from her dad's cabinet if we were feeling bold. Something simple. Romantic. That's all we wanted. But by the time the night was over, we wanted nothing more than to forget it ever happened. I pulled into Lauren's driveway around 8 p.m. Her house sat on the edge of town, nestled between two empty lots. The closest neighbors were a good 5-minute walk away. Most people would have hated living out here. No streetlights, no noise except for the woods behind the house. But Lauren liked it, said it made her feel safe. That night it was anything but. I grabbed the bouquet from the passenger seat. Not roses, Lauren thought they were cliché. I picked out yellow tulips instead. Something different. Something she'd actually like. I knocked twice, then stepped back, shivering. It was cold for February. Too cold. The wind rattled the bare trees lining the street. A dog barked somewhere in the distance. Then silence. The door swung open. Lauren grinned. "Hey, stranger." She was wearing my hoodie. The gray one I thought I lost months ago. I smiled. "You thief." She pulled me inside. The house was warm, dimly lit. Candles on the table. A movie paused on the screen. Perfect. Until I saw the gift. It was sitting on the kitchen table, wrapped in deep red paper. A small, neat black bow tied on top. Lauren noticed me staring. "Not for me," she said. My stomach tightened. "Who left it?" She shrugged. "It was on the doorstep when I got home." She picked it up, turned it over. No tag, no name, just a small square box. Waiting. We should have thrown it away. But we didn't. Lauren laughed. "Probably my mom. Being dramatic." I forced a smile. "Yeah, probably." She tore the ribbon off, slid a nail under the wrapping paper, ripped it apart, opened the box, and froze. Her face drained of color. Her hands shook. I stepped forward. "What is it?" She didn't answer. She just stared down. I leaned over her shoulder, looked inside, and my stomach turned. A dead rat. His body curled, stiff, his fur matted with dried blood, and tucked beneath its tiny, lifeless paws. A Valentine's card. Lauren dropped the box, stumbling back. The rat hit the floor with a dull thud. I swallowed bile, grabbed a napkin, scooped the thing up, and threw it in the trash. Lauren's breathing was ragged. "What the hell is this?" she whispered. "A sick joke," I said. But even as the words left my mouth, I wasn't convinced. I picked up the card. It was plain white. A small, pink heart printed on the front. No handwriting. No name. I opened it. Inside, written in perfectly neat letters, "You should have stayed home." A chill ran through me. I showed Lauren. She grabbed her phone, started dialing. "Who are you calling?" "Emma," she said. "She loves pulling shit like this." I waited. Lauren put it on speaker. The phone rang, and rang, and rang. Then, a click. A voice. But not Emma's. A man's voice. Low, slow. "Lauren." Silence. Then a faint breathing sound, like someone was listening. Lauren's hand tightened around the phone. "Who is this?" More silence. Then, a whisper. "Go check the backyard." Click. Lauren threw the phone down. I ran to the window, looked outside. The yard was dark. Too dark. The porch light wasn't on. Just the swaying trees, the empty lawn. I unlocked the sliding door. Lauren grabbed my arm. "What are you doing?" "Seeing who's messing with us." I stepped outside. The air was icy, thick with silence. I took a few steps forward, and felt something crunch under my foot. I looked down. A rose, deep red, crushed beneath my shoe. Then, my eyes adjusted to the dark, and my stomach lurched, because the lawn was covered in them. Hundreds of roses, scattered across the yard, torn apart, crushed, and as I stepped closer, my pulse thundered in my ears, because something else was lying among them, something too pale, too human. I crouched down. My hands shook as I reached for it, turned it over. And when I saw what it was, I dropped it, a severed hand. A cheap silver ring still wrapped around its finger. Lauren's voice shook behind me. What is that? I couldn't answer, because I knew the ring. I had seen it before, on Emma's hand. Lauren pulled me back inside and slammed the sliding door shut. She locked it, double-checked it, then stepped away like it might open on its own. Her hands were shaking. Her face had gone pale. I was still staring at the yard, at the roses, at the hand. I had seen dead things before, but never like this, never up close, and never something that used to belong to someone we knew. Lauren grabbed her phone again, tried Emma's number. Voicemail. She tried texting. Nothing. Her breathing was ragged. What the hell is going on? I didn't know what to say. I had no answers. Only the sinking feeling that we were being watched. I grabbed my own phone. No service. Figures. Lauren's house was too far out of town to get a good signal sometimes. We needed a landline. Your parents still have the house phone? I asked. She nodded. Where? Kitchen, she whispered. I started toward it, then stopped. Something was sitting on the counter. Another box, wrapped in red paper, identical to the first one. Except this time, there was no bow, just a small piece of paper taped to the top. A note. Lauren reached for it, but I grabbed her wrist. Don't. She looked at me, confused. What? I swallowed. You shouldn't touch it. She hesitated, then used a knife from the counter to pry the note off. It was folded. She opened it slowly. The handwriting was neat, small. For words. This one is still warm. A chill ran through me. Lauren covered her mouth. I grabbed the box, expecting the worst. Ripped the paper off, opened the lid, and froze. Inside, a cell phone, Emma's phone, screen smeared with blood, and on the screen a single missed call. From Lauren's number. Lauren staggered back. No, this is a joke. Her voice cracked. Someone's messing with us. I wanted to believe that. I did, but I knew better. I grabbed the phone, hands shaking. Felt warm, like someone had just been holding it. I clicked the power button. The lock screen lit up. A new text message. Unknown number. Who do you think let me in? I looked up fast. Lauren was staring at me, her hands gripping the counter. She didn't say anything. She didn't have to. We both knew what that message meant. We were not alone in the house. I moved quickly, grabbed the biggest knife from the counter. Lauren followed me. We checked the front door. Locked. Bolted shut. We checked the windows. Still latched. Nothing broken. No signs of forced entry. But somehow someone had left that box in the kitchen. And Emma's phone. Still warm. Still recently used. Which meant whoever left it was still inside. Watching. Listening. Waiting. I grabbed Lauren's arm. We have to leave. She nodded, eyes wide. We moved toward the front door, then stopped. A creaking sound. From upstairs. Footsteps. Slow. Deliberate. Lauren's grip tightened on my arm. She shook her head. Mouthed, no. But I couldn't ignore it. I motioned for her to stay put. Then started toward the stairs. Knife in one hand. Emma's phone in the other. The second step creaked under my weight. Whoever was up there heard me. The footsteps stopped. I held my breath. I reached the top. The hallway was dark. Lauren's parents' bedroom door was slightly open. So was Lauren's. I checked Emma's phone again. The battery was dying. One last notification on the screen. A voicemail. From Emma. I pressed play. The message was only 3 seconds long. One word. Whispered. Terrified. Run. A door slammed downstairs. Lauren screamed. I spun around and felt something move behind me. I spun around. The hallway behind me was empty, but something had been there. I felt it. The air was thick, heavy. The kind of stillness that makes your stomach knot. Lauren screamed again. I turned, bolted down the stairs. She was pressed against the front door, shaking. He ran past me. She pointed toward the kitchen. I didn't see his face. My blood ran cold. The back door was wide open. Cold air poured in. Whoever had been upstairs was gone. For now. I locked the door. Checked it again. My fingers felt numb. Lauren grabbed my arm. Call the cops. I fumbled for the house phone. Dialed 911. It rang. Once. Twice. A click. 911. What's your emergency? Relief flooded me. There's someone in the house. We need help. Now. Lauren's voice shook. He left something. A phone. It's... The operator cut her off. Address. I gave it to them. There was a pause. Then, a unit is already on the way. A cold chill crawled down my spine. What? A call came from this location 20 minutes ago. My grip tightened on the phone. No, we just called. Another pause. Then, sir, stay inside. Do not open the door for anyone but the officers. Lauren looked at me. She could hear the conversation. I could see it in her face. We never called before now. So who did? A sharp knock. We both jumped. The front door. Boom, boom, boom. Slow, steady. Lauren grabbed my arm. Don't open it. I moved toward the peephole. Pressed my eye to the glass. My stomach lurched. A police officer stood on the porch. Tall, broad-shouldered, wearing a dark uniform. A badge glinted in the porch light. I exhaled. It's the cops. Lauren shook her head. We need to be sure. Another knock. Louder this time. Sir, ma'am, this is Officer Caldwell. Please open the door. My fingers hesitated on the lock. Something felt wrong. Lauren grabbed my phone. Dialed 911 again. Hello? We just called. There's an officer at our door. Can you confirm? The operator cut her off. Ma'am, officers have not arrived yet. Do not open the door. Lauren's breath hitched. Her hand tightened on my wrist. Who the hell is outside? A new sound. Soft. Deliberate. Something slipping through the mail slot. A small red envelope. Lauren bent down, hesitated, then picked it up. Her fingers shook as she opened it. A single note. For words. Stop trying to leave. I backed away from the door. Lauren's voice cracked. He's not a cop. I grabbed her hand. We're going out the back. We moved fast. Through the kitchen. Lauren grabbed a flashlight. I gripped the knife tighter. I unlocked the back door and stopped cold. Another box was sitting on the back step. Wrapped in red paper. The note on top was scrawled. Messy. A single word. Run. Lauren whimpered. This isn't happening. But it was. And it was about to get worse. Because from the woods, a car engine roared to life. Headlights flooded the backyard. Someone was waiting for us. I slammed the door shut. Locked it again. Lauren was panicking. What do we do? I was breathing too fast. Thinking too slow. We couldn't stay here. Couldn't run outside. We needed a place to hide. Somewhere he wouldn't check. And then, I had it. I grabbed Lauren's hand. Pulled her toward the laundry room. Past the washer. Past the shelves. To the small crawl space behind the water heater. Lauren's eyes widened. No. We can't. He won't look here. I pulled the door open. Pushed her inside. Crawled in after her. Pulled it shut. We were inches apart. Lauren's breath was shaky. So was mine. We sat in darkness. Only the faint glow of the flashlight in Lauren's hands. Minutes passed. Then, footsteps. Slow. Deliberate. Inside the house. Lauren grabbed my arm. Her eyes wide with terror. The footsteps stopped. Right outside the laundry room. I clenched my teeth. Held my breath. Then, a sound I will never forget. The doorknob rattling. And a voice. Low. Smiling. Found you. The doorknob rattled again. A slow, deliberate test. Like he was playing with us. Lauren's hand tightened around my arm. I barely breathed. Silence. Then, the door creaked open. I could only see through a small gap. A shadow stretched across the floor. Tall. Motionless. The flashlight in Lauren's hands trembled. I gently pressed it down. If we made one sound, if we moved even an inch, we were done. He took a step inside. Then another. Boots scraping against the tile. I gripped the knife tighter. I wasn't going to die in a crawl space. Lauren's breathing was too fast. I had to stop this before she panicked. The man exhaled through his nose. Then, he bent down, right in front of the crawl space. My heart pounded in my ears. Waiting. Then, his hand reached forward. I almost stabbed him right then. But, he wasn't grabbing for us. He was reaching for the water heater. Something small was taped to the back of it. Plastic bag. He ripped it off. And inside, I saw it. A roll of cash. Thick, crisp bills. He already knew it was here, like he had left it himself. He stood up, put the money in his coat, then turned, and walked out, like this was never about us. We waited, listened. A few seconds later, the front door shut. I still didn't move. Neither did Lauren. Because what if he was waiting? What if this was another game? 5 minutes passed, then 10. Finally, I nudged Lauren. She nodded. I pushed the door open just a crack. The laundry room was empty. The entire house was silent. I grabbed her hand. We moved fast. Through the kitchen. To the front window. Peered out. The driveway was empty. He was gone. For now. Lauren's hands were shaking. "What the hell was that?" she whispered. I had no answers. But I knew one thing. That money wasn't random. This house, her house, was a drop spot. For someone. Maybe for him. And now we were caught in the middle. Lauren grabbed her phone. Tried 911 again. It rang twice. Then, a voice. "This number has been temporarily disconnected." Lauren's face went pale. "What does that mean?" I didn't answer, because I was looking past her. To the counter, where another box sat. Wrapped in red paper. Lauren turned. She saw it too. Neither of us had heard it being left. I stepped forward. Lauren stopped me. "No." I ignored her. Ripped the paper off. Opened the lid. Inside, a knife. Small. Dull. The handle was slick with something. A note was tucked beneath it. Scrawled in ink. "I left you a gift too. Look outside." A pit opened in my stomach. I ran to the window. Looked into the backyard. Lauren followed. Her hands flew to her mouth. Because someone was out there. Not him. Someone else. Person on their knees. Face covered. Wrists bound. Struggling. And at their feet, a gas can. Lauren's voice broke. "Oh my God." She grabbed the kitchen phone. Tried 911 again. Same message. Disconnected. She tried her dad's number. Nothing. No calls. No texts. No way out. And then, the figure outside began screaming. The screaming outside didn't stop. Lauren froze. I ran for the back door. She grabbed my arm. "Wait. We can't just." But I wasn't thinking. I was already unlocking the door. I sprinted onto the porch. The wind ripped through me. The figure was still struggling. Hands bound. Head covered with a sack. Thrashing. And next to them, a matchbox. Lauren gasped. "They're going to burn them." I lunged forward, and the back floodlights snapped on. My heart stopped, because now I could see. The bound figure. It was Emma. Lauren screamed. I reached her first, ripped the sack off. Emma's face was bruised, swollen. Tears streaked through dirt and dried blood. "Please," she sobbed. Asterisk, "He's coming back." Lauren cut the ropes with shaking hands. Emma collapsed forward, gasping. I grabbed her shoulders. "Who did this?" She looked past me, eyes wide with terror. "Run." A footstep behind us. We turned too slow. A figure stood at the edge of the yard. Watching. Waiting. Lauren backed away. Emma shook violently. "No, no, no." I stepped in front of them. The man tilted his head. He was tall, lean, dressed in dark clothes. His hood was down now, and my stomach twisted, because I knew his face. Lauren whispered his name. "Evan." Her brother. She stumbled back. "No, you're not." But he was. He just smiled. "It had to be you, Laure." Emma sobbed. Lauren shook her head. "No, this isn't." I grabbed her arm. "We have to go." Evan took a step forward. Then another. Slow. Patient. "I gave you so many chances." He reached into his coat, pulled out a lighter, flicked it open. But you don't listen, Lauren screamed. We ran straight for the tree line. Emma stumbled, pulled her up. Evan didn't follow. He didn't have to, because behind us, a whoosh of flame. I turned, the gas had ignited. The fire roared toward the house. Lauren's voice broke. No! Evan just watched, like it was a game, like he'd already won. And that's when I saw it. The final gift. A small box, sitting in the grass, waiting. Lauren saw it too. She was shaking. No, but I was already ripping it open. Inside, a single Polaroid. Of Lauren. Of me. Of tonight. Taken from inside the house. The note underneath was short. Handwritten. I told you to stay home. We made it to the road. Car blared its horn. Brakes screeched. A cop. We waved. Screamed. Ran straight for them. The fire lit up the sky. Evan was gone. Emma collapsed. Lauren sobbed. And I stood there, staring at the flames. Knowing this wasn't over. Not really. Because somewhere out there, Evan was still waiting. This was never a random attack. It was personal. Evan had been planning this for years. And when they didn't listen to the warnings, he made sure they paid for it.